Tonight on KGW News, Portland's tastiest holiday tradition is unveiled. Plus, be prepared to pay a toll on I-205.
I have a real problem with tolling.
It's not an equitable decision to do this.
Why ODOT says it has to start collecting the money. Plus,
it's hard for me to get an appointment for a booster. What do you tell me?
We find out why some are struggling to find a COVID booster shot. Your news starts now. Good evening. We begin tonight with answers in a case that haunted a community for the past year. The remains of a young girl found in Lincoln County have been identified, and now her mother is accused in her death. Alma McCarty walks us through this case, and Alma, police say this could have easily gone cold.
Yeah, in early October, investigators learned who the little girl was, identified as Haley Mae Koblenz. She was only 9 years old at the time of her death. She had been living with her biological mother and mother's girlfriend in multiple places in the Pacific Northwest. Yesterday, the two women were arrested in Michigan and charged with aggravated murder.
In this case, it really probably would have gone cold had we not got the genealogy and the DNA and been able to identify who the mother was.
Over time, investigators worked to piece together the disturbing, tragic mystery of the little girl whose remains were found here on December 10th, 2020, in a duffel bag around the Van Duzer Scenic Corridor in Lincoln County.
The child probably had been dead 30 to 60 days before being discovered. It was very difficult to identify who the child was.
Captain Stephanie Bigman with the Oregon State Police says they worked with the Center for Missing and Exploited Children, but Haley Mae Koblenz was never reported missing.
Children don't have a lot of history in the world. They don't have necessarily a big stamp. She was not in any database. Nobody knew that she was missing.
On top of that, Captain Bigman said more than 150 tips led nowhere.
It's a very heavily wooded area. There's a lot of traffic that goes through that area. People traveling inland to the coast.
Max Kirkendall, former editor for the News Guard in Lincoln City, followed the early stages of this investigation.
I constantly got emails from community members saying, please stick with this case. We got to find out more about what happened to her, and they're really seeking justice for her.
Based on the condition of the remains, the state medical examiner's office and detectives sent DNA samples to Paraben Nanolabs.
Initially, they were able to tell us age, hazel and brown eyes, black or brown hair, but then using some genetic information, they were able to actually identify who she was.
After that identification on October 4th of this year, law enforcement arrested and charged the victim's mother, Shauna Browning, and mother's girlfriend, Lauren Harrison, for her murder on Tuesday, a step towards closure in this case.
When we deal with any kind of a child victim, it really hits us hard because they're really the most innocent of everybody out there.
Although tips didn't lead to the arrests in this case, and it was solely based on the DNA evidence, Captain Bigman says they are important. She says sometimes the smallest amount of information can lead to a conclusion.
We're glad they were able to solve this one. Thank you, Alma. Now to the latest on the new COVID variant, Omicron. We told you earlier today that California detected its first case of the variant. That's the first recorded in the U.S. Tonight, state health officials there are increasing COVID testing at airports for people coming in from countries where Omicron is spreading. But California's governor said he doesn't anticipate any new stay-at-home restrictions because of the variant. The patient with the Omicron variant has just returned from South Africa. He is vaccinated and only has mild symptoms. While experts expect Omicron will spread fast, they don't know yet if it's more severe or vaccine resistant. With concerns over Omicron, public health officials are urging you to get your booster shot. But that can prove pretty challenging right now. Tim Gordon has an update on local booster availability.
If you are eligible to get the COVID vaccine booster and are having trouble making an appointment, you're not alone. Frustrating, but in a way, the predicament is understandable. Once the federal government opened up boosters for everyone 18 and up, the demand pool increased a lot. And with another new variant out there, concern is up. But health officials say the booster booking frustration is generally not because of a lack of vaccine, although Washington's Secretary of Health says they are cautious about ordering it up.
I think there has been a point where we've had more supply than demand. And so what we've done is been careful that we don't over order or over prescribe a vaccine from from either the federal partners or through the federal systems.
So what's the problem? It may be the network of providers, allocations to them, and staffing to go along with the increased demand.
They may have hesitated for a while, especially, holidays coming up or whatever, in terms of making appointments for the booster, but a lot more people may be seeking out booster doses right now. And that's why it's getting a little bit harder for the people to get in.
In Washington state, more than 4.7 million people are fully vaccinated. Of those, just over 1 million have gotten an additional or booster dose. In Oregon, nearly 2.5 million are fully vaccinated, and more than 707,000 have gotten an extra or booster dose. In Clark County, Washington, just over 67,000 have gotten a booster shot. If, like me, you're not yet one of them,
It's hard for me to get an appointment for a booster. What do you tell me?
I recommend not giving up and continue to try and make an appointment, because I think, whether you get the booster today or next week, it's important that you get it as soon as possible.
so join me and keep trying. Tim Gordon, KGW News.
Now let's get you caught up on tonight's other headlines. Oregon's longest-serving U.S. House member is retiring. Congressman Peter DeFazio made the announcement today. He represents Oregon's 4th District, which covers southwest Oregon from the California border to Albany. He has about 13 months until his term is over. He called being a congressman the greatest honor of his life. Today, the Portland City Council authorized more than $1.3 million in relief for cannabis shops. A recent review found pot shops have been hit hard by the pandemic, an increase in crime, and even wildfires. The OLCC found 185 Portland cannabis businesses reported theft between March of 2020 and October of this year. The funding will come from pot taxes. The city will disperse the money to both businesses and workers who qualify. Plans to open 6 homeless villages across Portland are delayed again. City officials confirmed the Safe Rest villages slated to open before the end of this year won't be ready until at least early next year. That update first reported by the Oregonian. Each site will house up to 60 tiny homes along with shared amenities and support services. So far, the city's only selected 3 of the 6 locations. We took a deeper look at the delay tonight on The Story. You can watch that full report on the KGW YouTube channel. In a few years, drivers across the Portland metro area will have to pay to use Interstate 5 and 205. It's part of ODOT's new tolling system to pay for improvements. Tonight, people in Clackamas County got a chance to ask questions about what this will mean for them. Catherine Cook sat in on the special town hall meeting and joins us live in the newsroom. Catherine?
And to be clear, Laurel, ODOT says these tolling projects are a done deal and will take effect in about 3 years. So I asked, why even bother taking public comment? They say they're still shaping the program, looking for answers about traffic diversion and equity, things they hope the public can help them with.
I have a real problem with tolling.
That summed up the majority of public comment shared during Wednesday's Clackamas County Town Hall. It focused on ODOT's tolling and regional mobility pricing project planned for I-205 and I-5. Clackamas County Board of Commissioners stressed they don't have any say in the state's tolling decision. Chair Tootie Smith shared their disapproval of it.
As we believe it will have a disproportionate and detrimental effect on Clackamas County residents, businesses, and visitors.
Here's what will happen. Starting in late 2024, ODOT says drivers will be tolled on I-205 near the Abernathy and Tualatin River bridges. Funding would pay for several improvements on I-205. Among them, congestion management and work on the Abernathy Bridge, making it earthquake ready. ODOT Toll Program Director Lucinda Broussard.
Not having a toll means we don't have a project. We don't have the improvements the bridge doesn't happen. We can't do any. Right now, we are $510 million annually short for maintenance, which means now we cannot do anything else. There's no innovation happening. There's no upgrade.
A year later, in 2025, ODOT will start their regional mobility pricing project. That will impact drivers on all of I-205 up to the Glen Jackson Bridge and a big stretch of I-5 from the Interstate Bridge to the Boone Bridge in Wilsonville.
This tolling is inequitable, and no place I have lived, El Paso, Gig Harbor, or Seattle, has had all lanes tolled.
ODOT says one goal is getting commuters to carpool, work from home, or adjust their commute times to alleviate congestion.
We are pricing for peak times. So technically during the peak, it would cost more, and off peak, it would cost less, but there would always be a price.
Critics are expecting to pay another price: congestion in their neighborhoods and side streets as commuters look for diversions around toll corridors.
I cannot imagine what it will be like because many people will be diverted off of 205.
So in terms of working with municipalities on alternate routes, you guys are a little late to the party.
ODOT says they've spent the last 3 years exploring other funding options at the state and federal level, only to call toll revenue critical. Many have questioned that claim.
It seems like, we're awash in money with record kicker new federal highway funds, $1.2 billion.
ODOT maintains the only alternative they have is do nothing. All right, now we still don't know much about what drivers will actually pay for the toll. ODOT says they'll share pricing information about 6 months before the toll goes into effect. Laurel.
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? We'll have to wait for. Thank you, Catherine. New at 11, an antique store that burned down in Southeast Portland has reopened in a new location. Really Good Stuff is just 5 blocks away from its original spot along Hawthorne. It was one of 4 stores destroyed in a fire in early October. The owner, Evan Schley, said he's grateful for this new space.
I'm glad to have the old crew back, and it's a new neighborhood, but I see a lot of familiar faces, and here we go. Version 4.
The new location is off Southeast Division on 36th Avenue. We still don't know what caused the fire that burned the original spot, but the owner of Really Good Stuff is suing his former neighbor, saying the fire started in their shop.